Today, we are talking about the age-old battle. Well, kind of age-old, mainly between two camera companies, but now we think three, and that is Canon versus Sony versus Fuji. Today, we have the hot takes. Also, Eric Floberg, everybody.
Eric Floberg.
Eric Floberg.
Eric
Flow Daddy.
Floberg.
The YouTube
Floberg
dad
runs.
is in the house.
The YouTube dad. If you want to learn how to make a ton of money, subscribe to Eric Floberg's channel.
Absolutely.
Or at least save a ton of money. Yes. How's it going, dude?
Good. Thanks for having me. This is really exciting because I watch you guys and now I'm here.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't do that. Pretend humble. We're excited. We're
Eric-
honored for you to be here, bro. Yeah,
He came in-
We look up to you.
Yeah, and he came in
That's how it
last
works.
minute because Taylor's out this week, but we were literally text Eric yesterday, hey, I want to be on, talk about some gear. Actually, we
Yeah,
didn't even
I
tell him
did.
what we're talking
No,
about.
you didn't tell me
Yeah.
that because I'm terrible at gear.
Whatever.
Right. But you also have been on a Canon journey, right?
Yeah, that's true.
You're our
and-
Canon representative here.
Yeah, because
Yes.
none of us shoot. Well, I don't shoot Canon anymore. You guys, Caleb had a C100.
Oh, we'll get into that.
Oh,
We
okay.
can't
Yes, we'll
into
get into it. We'll get into it. But yes, today we're talking about basically the pros and cons to both. Which camera company we think is doing probably the most for creators. Which camera company we think is the best right now. And really the rise of Fuji, I think, in a lot of ways.
The
too. How
rise.
Fuji's somewhat taken a lot of the market share.
Of Mount
while
Fuji.
Nikon, where's Nikon been? You know?
Don't sleep on
That-
Nikon. The Z9 is getting some traction.
But maybe sleep on Nikon. I don't know. Eric, do you think we should sleep on Nikon?
Yes.
Dude, I watched. I think it was Peter McKinnon's last video. It was just like a quick Q&A, and one question was like, "Do you like Nikon?" And
said
literally
no.
all he does is just goes, "No," and it was next question. Like, just straight. I actually.
Why does
laughed.
Nikon get so much hate?
It's
My
just
first
the-
camera was a Nikon D90.
It's
That was my first
nerdy,
camera.
dude.
Yeah, you mentioned
It's
that
the
before. I
ongoing
love
joke
Nikon, to be
now.
honest. But we're not gonna sell that boat right now.
All right, Eric, what is your hottest take about cameras?
I truly do not care at all about any of the systems. Like whenever anyone argues about
Are
it,
you
I
sure?
just-
Are you sure you don't care? Because you rave about
Yeah.
your C70 now.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
People who
I would
say-
probably also love an FX6. I would probably also love any kind of Fujifilm camera if I
Dude,
like.
just,
But
he
why-
just
but
goes
why
straight
Canon?
to FX6. What a boss.
But why Canon though?
Because that's what I started with, and I just never left it. And I was like, I don't want it. I thought about switching to Sony this past off season, but then I really thought about the C70, and I was like, oh, that probably makes more sense. So I just went that way. But I'm different because I'm a photographer too. I mean, if I'm an R5, R6 system,
built different
then
now.
I don't want to have like cross brands between photo and video. I'd rather just bring one
That's true.
kit
Keep it
with
all
the
one
same
stream, yeah.
lenses. Yeah. So I mean, like, if I could stay in Canon, I'll do it. Like, sure, maybe a Sony cinema camera would be better for whatever reason. I don't care. Like the minimal difference between the C70 and an FX6, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe there is a bunch of difference.
Before you
Right.
had the Canon mirrorless, like the RF line or the R whatever, did you have 5D stuff?
Yeah,
Did you
I
have the
went.
EF set up?
Yeah, I started with the T2i like a boss, and then
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
No.
That's so
Y'all gotta get
sick.
with the T1i. That's their OG
Yeah.
there. The T1i.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. We didn't all come out of the womb liking cameras,
Yeah.
Joshua.
Yeah,
Our
my
bad. yeah.
I
Like
like
Joshua
that.
was born
With a camera
phone
in his hand.
and he was like, I love this.
that
I
was
found it when I was like 28.
So you've
Right
been
around the
on
time-
Canon since?
yeah, like in college, I was gifted that for Christmas by my parents, the T2i, and then started doing all my first like photo shoots with it, and
Kit
then,
lens or nifty 50?
for a little while, and then went nifty 50. Oh yeah, you know that
Yeah,
life.
for
You
sure.
can't
For
you
sure,
can't get
yeah.
away from Nifty 50. Like
Too much value there.
Too
Then
much
the
value.
the 5D Mark II was like the coveted camera that everybody had at that point. Like SNL was doing pickup shots on their opening intro with it, and production sets were using the 5D2 full frame,
I think
1080.
the show house was like
Yes.
fully
Yeah.
shot on that camera, right?
Uh-huh.
I remember
That's
that
crazy.
like
I
melting
didn't
my
know
mind
that.
in
That's
college.
wild.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they shot a whole season of House on the 5D Mark II. Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, I went 5D2, 5D3, 5D4, and then this the past 2 years, I finally switched to C200 after running with the 1DX2 for a while, going full Peter McKinnon mode. I basically rigged that out to feel like a cinema camera, and then I was like, let's actually like be able to shoot log and like do the thing. So jumped into C200. Yep.
I remember Philip Bloom did a how to make your own almost log profile for the 1DX Mark II.
Was it Magic Lantern in it?
Oh
no,
my gosh!
you didn't hack it. You just basically like turned all the contrast down, all the sharpness down, all the saturation down. You just basically turned it all to like 0, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Just so you got a flat-ish image, but it's not like true log.
The 5D Mark II changed the game, yo. It really did.
Right. Did you guys ever actually hack a camera with Magic Lantern?
Yeah.
I was always too scared. I was like, it's gonna overheat. It's gonna overheat.
Yeah, I didn't risk it.
And then I was deep, guys. I hacked my GH2 and GH1, I think, to run like really high bit rates. And I was on this like, what was it called? This weird website. You had to like buy these firmware patches. Anyways, yeah, I was
black market.
No, you could like get the GH2 to almost look like a red camera.
Off LimeWire.
But then the camera would just randomly crash.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
so
exactly. It's like
sketchy.
it became like super unreliable to use it, and I was always scared of that.
Yeah,
someone in the chat, sketchycameramarket.com.
It's kind of great that a company like Magic Lantern came out at that time, because it forced companies to really think about putting that type of those camera settings in these cameras now, because now every camera has log, raw, high bit rates.
Right.
You know, it really pushed them to be like, oh yeah, I think people actually want this on a smaller consumer level.
Right. But if Eric said he doesn't care about gear as much, he's probably like, he didn't hack anything. I mean, did you hack anything?
But everyone who says they don't care about gear, which Eric, I know you somewhat don't.
But you care about the image.
You had your
image.
Yeah, you had that one viral minute YouTube video where it was like every YouTuber in 2021. And it's like, if you haven't watched this, go watch it. Basically, it's a minute of him setting up gear, and the first line is like, okay, so today I want to tell you why gear doesn't matter. And that's the classic YouTuber stance. And I feel like for people who use a lot of cameras, it's like there's a reason at least you've stayed with Canon. Because if you were truly unhappy with the camera system, you probably
just
would
use your
switch,
phone,
right?
Or switch all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I did put Magic Lantern on my T2i, but because someone told me to, and then I had no idea what it did, and it just scared me, so I quickly abandoned that. But now that I know like what it could do, I'm actually really interested in getting one of those old bodies and like doing that and seeing what it looks like. Or like just like hacking a 5D Mark II to look like a cinema camera or something. That'd be really fun.
Give us the little plug on the C70 though, because I've always loved the Canon cinema lines. Like from the C100 and C100 Mark II is all I could afford at the time, which is still a lot of money, but loved the built-in NDs, loved the preamps, loved like the ease of use. Is that kind of what you're seeing out of the C70 now?
All of those things on the C70. The only gripe I have on it is like what most people say, like the buttons are a little weird. I don't care. The screen's not the best. I don't really care.
The buttons are weird. I don't care. So that is such a Joshua thing to complain about that I also don't care.
No.
Yeah, dude.
No.
You're such a button guy.
No, I'm more of a functionality. If the functionality of it is stupid, then it's stupid.
I only like Leica buttons. Okay.
Yeah.
I do have to
I've
say,
heard the flip out screen gets a little. It's like super flimsy, right? Or like it breaks easy on the C70.
Yeah, I haven't broken it, but it definitely feels flimsy.
if you walk,
you can increase the luminance. You can increase the luminance on it because it's really dark on the standard setting. So in bright sunlight, it's trash. But you can increase the luminance. But when you do that, it looks like all your highlights are blown. So you basically just have to go off waveform, which is really psychologically kind of hard. So I really haven't been using it with a monitor all that much. I still need to like fully rig it out. Shout out to Josh for visiting and helping me with that a little bit.
Can I tell the story?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Roast him.
The first time I met Eric, when we shot in his studio, for the Anamorphic campaign. And the first time we chatted up and we started talking and stuff, and he brought out his C70 rig. And the first thing I noticed, he has this massive 12-inch magic arm attached to his rig, off-centered, with his monitor like just jagged. I have a picture. We got to throw a picture up in here. And I'm like,
Oh yeah.
Eric, what the heck is this? Don't even know the guy, but that's
What is this blasphemy?
What the devil is
in
this?
the Church
What is
of Rig
going on?
Daddy? What is this blasphemy?
He's like, oh, it's just like, this is all I got. I mean, it works. It works fine. I'm like, but bro, this must be a pain to use. Yeah, it is. It is. So I gifted him one of my favorite handles, wooden camera handles. And how's it going right now, by the way?
It's great. I like it a lot.
He doesn't notice. He's like, it's whatever.
No, it is. It does feel good. I'm excited to use I literally still haven't rigged up the rest of it because I haven't had anything substantial to shoot like in the field the past 2 months, which I will be next week. So I'll rig it out more and then.
I was gonna say I did enjoy your video of what was it, the photo street walk thing with Joe.
With Joe, yeah.
Yeah, the most recent one. That was probably one of my favorite edits that you've shot for that series.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
okay. C70 though. C70. I fell in love with the C200 because of the
Yes.
C-Log 2 RAW. That's why.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the
But it
files
was
are
a
massive.
size. Yeah.
So to go back to Caleb's
Raw
question.
light just wasn't a real thing. It was
No.
raw heavy as hell. is what it
Yeah,
is.
and you have to transcode all of it if you want to even use it. And then C70 comes along with a log 2 curve and MP4, and I'm just like, this is a sixth or eighth of the size, and I basically get the same exact image. I'm like, this is life changing. So it's not so much. It's most of the time, like anytime a new gear thing comes up for me, it's just solving any of my problems, as opposed to me like surveying the field and trying to figure out what is the best fit for me. Because I really have no interest in fully switching everything over to Sony.
And
if
it's so much
it means
work.
that I'm gonna have like a marginal difference.
Yeah, and we can talk. I want to talk more about that later. I was gonna say.
Yeah, I feel like there's different things each camera
All right,
brand
so-
excels in and like doesn't and like struggles in.
Yeah.
That
I
I think we can definitely get into. But
Okay.
but yeah, we'll save it.
Yeah, I think there was like a turning point though when Sony came out with the A7S that people were then like,
The A7S II.
no, I think
Or
just
just
the
the
A7S. The A7S saved Sony. Like whoever designed that camera body, the
Alpha
look, that
series?
whole
Yeah.
mirror. Yeah, the Alpha
Yeah,
series.
the
It's
Alpha
like
series. Yeah.
Okay.
that was the turning point. I don't know when that camera came out, but when it did, it was kind of like everyone was thinking, oh, maybe I can finally switch from Canon. There wasn't really a better option at the
Right.
time for video, for a
That's
hybrid
true.
DSLR shooter.
They had that like
Right.
Hunchback of Notre Dame camera from the Alpha series before they went like purely mirrorless. It was just this chunk of a camera that looked like this.
I've never.
It's
really,
so early. I don't even know what that camera
Yeah,
is. That's
yeah.
what's like.
I don't
dang.
personify my cameras that much, but Rig Daddy definitely does often.
All of them have names, nicknames as well.
Yeah.
No, I'm playing.
Yeah.
Not really.
I think the A7S II, it was like you bought an A7S II or you bought a 1DX Mark II. Those are like the two cameras I remember like a lot of people in 2016, like that's kind of what you were buying. And Canon's always like 50% more in terms of cost. Like the FX3 is like $3,000, the C70 is like $5,000.
And size, though. They were always like,
yes.
their
Yeah, they're always
size
bigger.
was thick, which was pretty nice
Yeah.
for like actually shooting a long day, like a wedding, for like the grip and stuff. But
Right.
a lot of people that wanted to go into the backcountry or go like exploring more with their camera, like once the Alpha series kind of hit, it was, shoot, this is good and full frame.
Right.
Obviously, that was
Right.
kind of the deal breaker, I think. If you didn't have a
Totally.
good full frame camera with like, I don't know, 4K and do all the things, that was kind of, you were out.
Right.
I feel like the
Right.
YouTube community pushed cameras to have like 4K 60 once that became really popular, and now every camera has to have 4K 60 for slow-mo, B-roll juice with all that god stuff.
I never shoot 60.
Never
Literally.
shoot 60. I never.
I have
Never.
turned my FX3 to slow-mo like maybe 2 days out of the year and a half.
The
I've owned
slowest
it.
I
Like,
go is 48 frames a second, and I love 48 frames a second. That's the slowest I'll go.
Me too.
Yeah.
I have to
Well,
shoot
and in the
30.
24
I
timeline
love
looks
30.
Mhm.
Love 30.
Love 30.
Oof, don't
All
get
right,
that
okay.
to me, bro.
I love when cameras default to just 720 30 right out of the box.
Hint, wink, wink. Last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
All right, sorry,
Um,
Eric. Eric, what else do you want to talk about? He's like, I gotta go.
Eric's like, I hate this topic.
Yeah,
Eric, I do want to ask about, so from like a cinema camera, the C70 is still a cinema camera, but it feels like it's somewhere in between a mirrorless and a cinema camera just because the size. So going from C200 to C70, and you're shooting this, feature length doc with Joe, like how's that kind of gear journey been? And then also just how's that film going? I think we'd love to hear like what's going on with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. C70 is so much more compact and easier to travel with and all that stuff. So that's phenomenal. It feels like it does all the same things as C200. I think the one small gripe I have with it is that it's the mini XLR instead of traditional XLR, which you just always have to have an adapter on it, which sucks.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
So that is one thing that is sort of annoying. Hasn't been too much of an issue, but it's okay. Great. Please let me know because I would love to rig that out for the rest of the year.
I will.
Basically, okay. What's funny is I roasted Condor Blue because I got their cage for the C70. I roasted it on a video we made in New York, and the guy that designed that cage watched the video and DM'd me and was just like, "Hey, thanks for the feedback." I was like, "Sorry, I roasted you."
Dude,
Right.
the world is small. The camera world
yeah.
is quite small.
small.
Yeah.
I also like Condor Blue for that. We actually
They listen
met
and
up
stuff,
with them at NAB, Caleb and I was like, oh, these are like they're asking us questions, and like, I don't know, it felt the most like interactive with like a gear brand like
Yep.
I had ever had. And I've actually stayed in touch with them a little bit of like chatting through that stuff because like they wanted to know like, why'd you buy Tilta, like blah blah blah. And so yeah, I think it is interesting that they do that.
I just have to say to any brand that's
Go
going
for
to
it.
watch this, I want y'all to realize that we don't want to have the brand name plastered everywhere on the cage. We really don't. Just keep it black,
true.
stealthy, simple, because I gaff tape anything that has brand, especially if I'm traveling internationally, because that has a target on my back. Just saying. Just throwing that out.
Mhm.
Right.
Keep it black.
Right.
And
right. Yeah.
The reason I roasted is because the mic placement is like up on the top left side of the cage, which is right over the LCD screen. So like you just can't see the screen when there's like a quality mic on it. So like this, it just doesn't feel like a good design. So he DM'd me on Instagram like a few weeks ago, and he's like, "Hey, just want to let you know I completely redesigned the cage. It's gonna be rolling out in a couple months." And I was like, "Okay."
Wow.
So they're
Yeah,
gonna
that's cool.
send me a new one. So I know. I was like, I'd never talked about
That's
gear,
really
but the
cool.
fact that this happened, I was like, okay, cool.
That's fun.
So that's great. So the mic placement will be over to the right now, and won't interfere with viewing in the screen, and we'll still give you the ability to hit record button, on and off switch, all that good stuff. But yeah, I mean, like it's
Props to Condor Blue. That's sick.
Yeah.
really, really cool. So, I mean, the first few trips we did with the dock were on C200. I was just shooting raw everything, and we're coming back with terabytes of footage. So
Oh my gosh.
having switched to the C70 on the last New York trip, there was just so much less data, which was so wonderful and makes me feel like it's not as much of a behemoth to like keep track of everything because, yeah, I mean, like it just wasn't sustainable shooting raw on the C200
Right.
for a documentary, and I was not ready to shoot 8-bit on that camera. So,
Yeah, that was the problem with the C200 is you had like the best possible quality and then you had like the lowest possible quality. There's no in between, which is why I went and got the Sony FX3 because it fit right in the middle
Yep.
of like you can shoot 4K SI. It's like the least compressed, plays back on your computer and looks really good.
This is
So it's
why
like,
I love Blackmagic.
let's hear it.
no
Let's hear
I
it.
compromise,
love you
no
because you love their
compromise.
autofocus.
Bruh. We're talking about
Got
cinema
him.
work
Boom.
here.
Got 'em.
Roasted. Yeah.
Nobody talks
Yeah,
about
the
autofocus
autofocus,
of that
it
camera.
doesn't-
Nobody. It doesn't even have
Yeah.
it.
It doesn't have it. Yeah.
That's why I said it. I
You don't
know.
need it.
Literally.
No, you know though.
No.
But no, the image is great. Like I love the fact that Blackmagic gives you everything you need in terms of image quality to really make to give you the most data for any situation for that camera and any use. So that's all I have to say.
It's also so cheap,
It's so cheap.
which is crazy.
Right. It's way more affordable, and it comes with DaVinci. It comes with
Yeah,
the
the
full
full
version of the
studio.
of the DaVinci editor. It's like I almost want to buy that camera so I can get DaVinci and then sell the camera without DaVinci. And I feel like that'd be like the most economical way to because I think the program itself is like $700.
No,
right?
When
it's,
I,
no, it's $300.
It's
okay.
300.
It's
And
only
when
That's not bad.
I
That's
sold
not
my Blackmagic, and the person I sold it to asked for the license key, because
Yeah.
I mean I could have been like no, but it did feel like that's I don't know. Even
Yeah,
used, they were like
yeah.
No.
And it's nice. Every
bad.
key,
You should have said no.
every
That's
key
funny.
gives you 2
No.
licenses. So every key you get two. You can put on 2 computers.
2 computers.
So
Oh.
at that point, at one point, I had 8 licenses. That eventually just
Wow.
I sold off.
Flex, bro.
Wow,
Okay.
dude, are you just shilling
No,
out
I'm
bunch
not.
of
No, it's just
licenses to
like
people?
every time you buy a Blackmagic product, they give you a license. So
Wait, so when you send me my new camera package, my camera love package, why don't you include a key and then I'll get DaVinci?
you can download it for free, my guy. You're over here. It's like, I'm staying with Premiere.
All right. Back to the doc. Back to the doc.
Whoa,
Eric,
whoa.
Eric.
Right.
Is there like, can you give us some like intel on? Have you made a doc before? What's the process like making like in your head a first official one? Like,
And
is
feature
it,
length.
Is it expensive to make? Like, I mean, obviously your time, and you have MusicBed, I think, as a partial sponsor, or
Yeah. It's it's really complicated, and we've been trying to get through those muddy waters the past 2 months. It was really unfortunate timing for for me, because for years I'd been wanting to collaborate with a few brands on presets and LUTs to sell through my channel.
Please talk about that, by the way.
Oh, well, yeah, it's through Develop, which in my opinion, Develop for the presets, Develop is like one of the best companies out there that does preset development. Our team just absolutely geniuses with their profiles. And yeah, basically like I didn't want to make a product that was just mediocre and just sell it for money. That's just not who I am. So I wanted to be able to partner with teams of people that like know what the heck they're doing and give me a product that I can first and foremost use and then like feel okay with selling, instead of just doing the thing that a lot of YouTubers do, where it's just like, oh, I kind of made this preset pack, I'm selling it for $25. Even the added benefit, adding the benefit of just like, of having a system and a business in place that has customer service and updates and like all those things that I don't even have to worry about. They even have an uploader for their preset. Like they have things that I never would have. And so it's a more premium product, which I'm okay selling, seeing it as an investment from other people. So I did that with Develop, and I did that with Gamut for my LUTs as well. I'm very, very excited about both of those. It felt like the 2 years of collaborating and finally getting it done was worth it to get the product that we have now. But because of the nature of going back and forth months at a time with both parties being busy, they all just fell on top of each other between LUT launch, preset launch, and then my course as well. My course drop was in July also. So like they all fell on top of each other, and that was in the middle of like trying to plan for the documentary, going into the fall, and also trying to figure out funding. So basically, MusicBed came to me with a sponsorship contract for my YouTube channel at the beginning of the year with no intention of, they didn't even know the project was happening. So I was like,
okay,
oh, maybe we can use some of this money and sponsorship money to kind of pad some of the beginning stages, and then I could see if they are interested in partnering in doing the documentary. Turns out they're not really doing any kind of investing into short films or anything of that nature. Built a whole pitch deck, had a whole conversation, just wasn't really the right fit. So then I was just kind of like, okay, I really have not, maybe I will just have to self-fund this and figure out how to maybe recoup the money on my own. We'll see.
Right.
So then going back to Gamut, my buddy Levi, who is half of Gamut, it's Levi and Kaylin who run Gamut. He came to town to do all the production for the LUT release, and he's like serial entrepreneur, has sold multiple businesses, works for a company right now that invests in a lot of different things. So we're in the conversation of seeing what that would look like to potentially have his company, who he works for, be an investor, or if that doesn't work out, the Gamut, actually the company that has produced my LUTs, being a sponsor. So we're between those two options right now. But in the meantime, like I'm very confident that we're going to figure out something between those options. Right. But I'm currently still just like spending money out of my pocket to like make the trips happen and just like continuing
Food
to shoot.
and
all that stuff.
It just adds
sometimes put your own cash into the project you want to make. So
yeah, but like,
are you excited about? I mean, obviously you're excited about it. It's like it's running and it's It's like sounds like the sick. I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah.
It's like.
It's. I mean, as far as what the content is and how visually appealing everything has been so far, like it's going to be absurd. Like,
yeah.
Even just like the shorts we've already cut together and what it looks like and feels like. We're not even to the actual heart of what the story is going to be. That's going to happen later this fall. It's looking like we're still like in the process of solidifying the calendar. Because I mean, like he got a job to go shoot with Greta Van Fleet for a whole month in June, and so that was just like, okay, well, I guess we're not going to shoot all of June now. Like, you just have to be flexible, and you can't, like, he didn't have any relationship with them, so it's like, how do we, we can't be like, hey, can my production team come along and film me while I'm shooting you? Like, that couldn't happen. So yeah, it's just a lot of being incredibly flexible and trying to figure out. So like at this point, I've sunk about 10 grand of my own money like into trips and doing all that because we're bringing a whole team and we're doing Airbnbs and all that stuff. But I feel very confident being able to recoup that big of an investment, even if we double, triple that and spend probably more than that. But that's where a lot of the other stuff comes in with, like, I'm obviously very open about how much I make. I make videos about how much I make. So like, I'm in a privileged position to have enough finances to self-fund something like this. And like, if worst case scenario, I have to just drop that much money on making my first movie, that's what it ends up being. And I'll take that L, but I don't think it's an L because of like all the connections.
Are there any running brands that are involved or trying to pay for it?
No, what we've come to realize so far is that a lot of running brands are just interested in doing some sort of partnership for like, we'll give you this much gear to be on or whatever. But I would much more prefer one source of of the money coming in as opposed to like being obligated between a bunch of different brands, because like they're gonna want, like, if Tracksmith jumps on, they're gonna be like, okay, well, we want Joe and all of our gear for the entire movie. I'm like, well, we've already shot meaningful stuff without that gear on. I don't want to feel creatively constrained to have to do that. Yeah. So we're thinking more now, like on the back end, what potential deals could we do with those running brands where we do like a collaboration of like an item or an outfit to maybe sell after the film, or like maybe Tracksmith teams up with Joe on doing like a marathon kit. And then we sell that.
That's real smart. Yeah.
So like something like that, I think could be really beneficial on the back end. And then, talking with Levi about equity distribution and all that stuff and what that looks like between the sales on each product and blah, blah, blah. So.
Well, if you need any camera assist, I assume like when he runs, he'll run the marathon at the end of the year.
Yes.
That'll maybe be like obviously a huge part of the doc because it's what it's about. So if you need an extra camera assist to capture a 26-mile course, I'm there. I'm there.
That's just a phone call I haven't been able to dive into, but we absolutely need to talk about that through the fall and winter.
How to make coverage on. I actually have never even looked at that course. I just know it's fast.
Yeah, we're gonna show up like a week early, and Joe and I have already been like, okay, we have to study this course like it's the back of our hand, and we have to bring all of the artillery we can with cameras and people and electric mobile devices.
I can send you a doc that Hoka did, or Hoka sponsored it, of the Olympic marathon trials, kind of a culmination. And there was only a couple filmers on that, and they still did a pretty good job of like
coverage and stuff.
Showing the coverage.
Covering it. That's cool.
And I don't think they used any like network footage from what I remember, because obviously some of those runners are going to be the front, and that's what like NBC's covering. But I think
Joe also talked about us like helping crew as well, so like having bottles ready for him and stuff too. So like if we do that, I think that would be really interesting. Honestly, I think it would add a level of interest into the film as well.
Right. So sick.
But yeah, I think one of the biggest things here is like a lot of people are like, how did you land doing a job like that? And it's like, well, it's a combination of
having
the same That's
It's a combination
that's
of
it.
loving Canon. Yeah,
That's how you
it's all
do it.
about
Just
gear.
never
It's all about
giving
the
up
gear.
on Canon.
We've gone so off the rails.
Yeah, my bad.
That's fine.
No. This
We're
is
adding
way more
value,
interesting.
Niles. We're adding value here.
See, this is
We'll talk about our hot takes in a second.
Yeah.
this is the stuff I love chatting about, because it's just like, if you want to actually use gear, like, and make cool things, you have to engage with this stuff, and you can't ever
can't
just
avoid this,
assume
yeah.
that because you got the Z-Cam, or because you got a red Komodo or whatever,
Yeah.
like, that you're just going to start shooting documentaries. Like, no, I mean, freaking, everyone uses Casey Neistat as an example, but like, he got an HBO series off a camcorder. Like, there's all sorts of ways you can tell a story and like provide value or entertainment to a viewer. So a lot of people ask how this all happened, and it was just because like Joe and I share the same passion in running, and it's really because you guys connecting through Dad Strides and that podcast that
Come
like
on.
I feel like that he even heard about who I was, and then knew that we were both running New York together, and then we just spent the entire morning together pre-race.
Oh,
And
that's
so like at that point I finished the race and was like, well, I filmed him before the race. I like interviewed him on my phone, and that
Yeah.
just kind of birthed the idea of like, well, what if we just film? And it was just a mini doc idea. Like, what if we filmed the next attempt? And then after that, it's just like, well, someone as big as Joe, like, how do I continue to just offer value to him, as opposed to just being like, and I've experienced this from other people, like getting DMs that are always just like, hey, would love to shoot alongside you, or love to shadow you, or whatever. And it's like, I would love to be able to do that to anyone if I could, but I don't have enough time or resources to afford that to anyone or everyone. So it's like, how do I lead with value and give him something beneficial? And so that's where we started talking about doing Street Diaries episodes and like getting content for his YouTube channel, and maybe connecting him to more brands through, running brands through content and that sort of stuff as well.
Yeah, that's
sick.
cool. Yeah, I feel like the main lesson that I always hear that's like just a lot in these situations is like filming things that you know. It's like you didn't go to a separate sport that you knew nothing about, knew
Right.
no one in it, and then said, "Hey, I just would like to film you." It's like, oh no, you actually chose something that's close, and I feel like that's such a leg up for these things. It's like, what
Yeah.
stories are just right in front of you that are interesting to tell? And for that one, it's like you literally you ran into each other, and then you're running together, and it's like, it almost seems like something. I don't know, not spiritual, but something like special about how those kind of ideas form, and then like actually seeing them play out is so cool. Versus like, and then because you run, you know how to film it. Like, you know what to look for, you know the ups, the downs. Like, I feel like knowing those things is so important. It's the same with like skating and Caleb. It's like, it's like Caleb just understands the sport. So it's like, it's harder, not possible, but it's harder to shoot a sport that you don't know a ton about without. Like,
If
Well,
I
I mean-
ran, if
Oh.
I was gonna say,
Uh-oh.
Well, I was
when I
gonna
run
say-
my first road marathon,
oh,
Go.
when I run, is my internet bad? It might be.
No, you're good,
When
you're
I run
good.
my first road marathon, I'm gonna try to get Liquid Death to sponsor it, and I'll just all my bottles will just be cans of their water, and I'll
you
just
shotgun it.
Yeah.
You shotgun each one. You stab it with the key and
Go.
how BA would that be in a race?
if you were sponsored by Satisfy, and then in every aid station you were just shotgunning a Liquid Death, and you had all your tats because you're cool and you're sponsored by Satisfy running.
We
Oh,
do
hey,
have a
caveat.
okay. As we're on this topic, we have someone in the Discord chat, Z Trey. He's just asking what's in our cups. He really wants to know, so we should hit this. He is a meme that's like
Yeah.
I had a single O Ethio, but I chugged it, so now I'm out. And now I really wish I had water because it's 85 degrees outside,
Yeah.
and I don't have air conditioning.
single.
Staying
yeah,
hydrated,
classic.
just drinking water. Cause
What
I'm
you
getting
got,
over
Joshua?
Eric, what do you have?
I came prepared.
Just
I made pour over when I got in the studio today. This is my third cup. I regret to say, but
I'm gonna have 3 today. So.
Temple, Columbia.
He brought the
You have the
beans.
bag
He
with you.
brought the beans.
Yeah, it's
I respect
notes of apricot, lemon, peach.
Notes.
I would hate that. Okay.
People who don't know coffee hear that and think, "What on God's green earth is he
Yeah.
drinking?" But to
Wait,
me, I'm like, that sounds delicious.
out of Niles, Eric, and like let's say Joe, because I know he's super into coffee too. Who's most into coffee? Like Eric, are you like traveling with like your own grinder, like crazy stuff like that?
Yeah, we like our last trip. Our last trips,
Yeah.
my wife and I brought all of our coffee gear. So
Okay. So I would say Eric and Joe are probably on a similar level. I think
Uh-huh.
I'm a rung below. I think I'm still best available.
Best
but
available.
the
I'm
effort-
best
the
available.
effort to hand grind and stuff like that, I'm not that into. Like on this past Portland trip, we drank Starbucks like crazy. I hated it eventually, but like the first couple times it's whatever. But yeah.
Yo, not
I will say
sponsored.
that
not sponsored,
Yeah.
but Cometeer is the move on the road.
Cometeer.
Cometeer.
What is it?
They do like freeze dried single origin like shots,
I
concentrate.
think Colin and Samir did an ad read for them at some point. I remember
They're-
looking at it because it was like it's like an ice cube.
They're the best
my.
high quality travel coffee.
I'm
Like,
gonna
we
get
also
this.
did Swift Cup, but it's a little Swift Cup is like a little more, I don't know, like mealy.
Right.
And Cometeer
Right.
is just like
So-
it straight up feels like a fresh cup of coffee.
Nice.
So
Really?
Caleb's gonna get sponsored by Liquid Death. I'm gonna get sponsored by Cometeer.
Hold on. How much are
Josh
these?
was gonna
Hold on.
get
Hold on.
sponsored
Hold
by
on.
Oh,
Small
it's expensive. You
How-
also
how
have to
much are we
keep it
talking?
frozen as you go.
I was gonna say.
Okay,
can
so
we-
there's
I wanna-
there's a single origin black. I assume that's going to be the most money.
Oh, this coffee talk.
How often do you
It's
need
like
your
$2 a
coffee?
cup, so it's not
$2
too
a
bad.
cup. Not too bad if
Right.
you're like if that's substituting going to a nice
Yeah.
coffee shop.
So
Yeah.
also shout out to Krusty the Rusty and his commitment to Dr. Pepper. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll know if you sign up for our Discord.
Join our Discord. We are almost
Join our Discord.
we're almost at 500 Discordians. So that's pretty
Discordians.
cool.
That's what's up.
Yeah, and if you join our Discord, then you get to listen to the podcast live and hear all of the mistakes we make,
That's
as
a
well
great
as our
image.
intros and outros. Okay,
I was gonna say
camera
earlier,
hot takes.
Wait,
Oh, no,
I was
okay,
gonna say
go, go,
earlier
go.
because
Yeah,
you were saying how shoot things that you're familiar with. I'm on the opposite end. I've shot a ton of stuff that I'm used to shooting. So right now, I was talking about skateboarding. I'm putting together a skateboarding documentary, and it's
Right.
so out of my element. But I love the thrill of it because now
Right.
it's forcing me to learn.
There's
different
probably a healthy
techniques.
balance.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah,
because I have all
totally.
this other technical and creative skills, and now I can apply to a
Yeah.
whole new environment and landscape. So it's been really a
Right.
thrill to kind of piece that together so far.
I think what it is when you're start with things that are close to you. And then as you kind of branch out, like obviously like Christopher Nolan and like shooting Inception, it's not like he's experienced that, it's like he's making up ideas. So it's kind of like as you grow in your field, like where you are, I think you can shoot things you don't know. But I think
Yeah,
starting out,
I think-
definitely it's like staying close.
I think it's 50-50 because sometimes being out of your element is a good thing. Like being comfortable isn't always a good thing to be in. So it's like if you want
That's true.
to explore something that challenges you, do it. Like it's either or. You can go comfortable, you can
Wait,
go not.
can we talk for a second about Danny G finishing his first feature?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just texting him. And I think we're going to try to get him on the show too to talk about it. But he said he
Oh.
needs a few weeks to like recover.
Decompress.
Yes, which I can only imagine. Yeah, he's like a 22-day shoot. They
Was-
basically did way more in each day than he says.
Yeah,
they were
like
supposed to.
Maddie's vlog was like, yeah, they wrapped one night at like 3:30. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
Jeez.
22 days in a row of that intensity, I can't even fathom.
Yeah.
I think also though, or I'm not sure, but like on the BTS, like he was filming. Obviously, it's a drama, but it's like a cross country team in it. I think, which is
Yeah, it's basically
Super
like a
cool.
kind of it's kind of like a teen coming of age,
Dark humor.
dark comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's like I
That's
think
gonna
the
be
whole
so
premise
good.
is like there's a kid who like thinks he wants to commit suicide.
Yeah. And,
Oh, wow.
And it's like, I think I'm sick because I want to do that, but it's like a dark comedy about that.
Yeah.
gotta have some.
I bought my
laughs
ticket,
in that
so-
darkness.
Yeah, I bought my
Oh,
ticket
cool.
too for the LA showing. It kind of reminded me of like a Meet Earl and the Dying Girl. Did you guys ever see
Oh,
that?
yeah, I
yeah,
saw
yeah,
that
yeah,
film.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw
So
that film.
good.
So
It's
good.
And kind of like a Juno or something like that, where it's like
Yeah.
a
Also
Or has an
had
indie
running
feel
in
to
it.
it.
Juno had,
also had
Michael
running-
Cera.
Yeah,
track
I
team.
feel like indie and cross country just like go hand in hand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh man. Okay, so really quick then to pull it back to our original topic of this
Yeah, some
conversation.
hot takes.
So
Yes.
Niles and I are both on Sony now. Joshua is, I would say, obviously you have your cinema cameras, but like you have been a Fuji fanboy now, pretty hard.
for
So
the
like,
last couple
where do you
years.
see Fuji?
Joshua's always on the fringe. He's like Zcam, Blackmagic, and
Jo-
like
I don't
Joshua's
Fuji. I
getting,
followed- I
he
go
gets
against the
everything cool
grain.
before it gets cool.
guess,
So
yeah.
Also, Joshua told me he hates Canon colors. Like he
Yeah.
said, Canon colors are boring, and I was
They
just
are
like,
boring.
okay, I was
But-
like, I was like,
So
use this for the thumbnail.
Wait.
So is
Hear
Portra
me out.
400.
Yeah,
I'm not.
yeah,
Portra
Canon
400.
colors are boring.
Wait. Don't. Okay, I'm not gassing Eric on this, but your LUTs are really good. Like they're some
Thanks,
of the best
man.
quality. They're really like I haven't seen someone put out LUTs for the Canon.
They are very
system,
high quality. Yeah.
that make it feel filmic. And
Not boring.
Not boring. And so kudos to you really getting
you.
that dialed in. But outside of that, yeah, I don't like Canon colors. It's very boring to me. They're safe.
Which
They're
Canon
safe.
colors have always been like
They're safe.
They are safe. I would say safe is accurate. They're safe.
They're
It's
safe,
just like
yeah.
it's the most natural looking true tone. I would say Sony for me. So I was always on Canon, similar to Eric, and then I went 5D Mark III. Canon 7D. I had that as like my 2 cameras for weddings, and then I went 1DX Mark II after all my cameras got stolen, and then I went C200, and then I went FX3. And the reason I went FX3 is because Sony, what they do so well is they give you the most they possibly can for like the best possible price. Canon to me was always hiding things. It was just like, why would you not give the C200 a 10-bit
Right.
a 10-bit codec? Like, why would you hide that? Give us 12-bit RAW or like 8-bit MP4 files. It's like Canon specifically like wants you to buy the thing that's $10,000, while Sony seemed to be always like talking to where I was at as a filmmaker. Dream camera though is like C500 Mark II.
Yeah.
When that came out, like full frame
Yeah.
and stabilization internally, I was just like, oh, that is just, I want it so bad. But 15 grand. It's like, no way. I'm gonna buy an FX6, 100%. Because Sony colors are better now.
Yeah.
And maybe not as
they are
boring.
better now.
Yeah, they used to be really green. Like really green,
super
really
green.
green
Yellow,
skin
like
tone.
kinda
S-Log was
sick.
hard to work
Sick,
with. Yeah.
But okay,
Also,
but
Canon autofocus is worse than Sony autofocus. I mean, going from C200 to the
But
Sony
it's
camera,
still great.
Sony literally, it's like it shouldn't work that well. It's like they have a bunch of wizards casting spells on cameras and like it
Yeah.
just works.
It's
but
great.
the R,
six.
I think the mirrorless Canon stuff is getting a lot better. Like a lot better, right, Eric?
And I haven't tried any of those cameras.
Right,
Neither.
Eric?
I don't know. I can't
yeah.
say.
Yep, we've been using the R5 as a B cam, and I was literally on the back of a Super 73 electric bike, like going over one of the bridges
I think I saw this.
in New York, and I was literally just handheld, literally one hand, and the footage is like very smooth, with a 50 prime and an IBIS. So I mean, like
nice.
it's jittery here and there, but like obviously
If you're just
8K
getting it for B-roll, it's like perfect.
Can we pause real
Yeah.
quick?
Right.
Speaking of Fuji, can we pause real quick? My battery's about to die. It was
Yep.
it was a full battery.
All right, now that we're back, Joshua, sorry your camera died. I would say over the last year, maybe 2 years, COVID was like a black hole. So I don't know what year it is. Fuji, I feel like they're kind of coming out of the grave, coming into their own.
Yeah.
I feel like they found their niche that is
Right.
like the coolest looking camera. They went after
Yeah.
like the aesthetics. They went after like the
It's
more
old school.
I hate to say less professional because like the GFX people are insanely professional looking photos, but
Right.
the built-in presets on the JPEGs are like classic chrome. That stuff. That's what got me
all the
into
Fujis do that. All the Fujis do that.
it. The recipes, yeah, that's
The
what I'm saying.
simulations, the
This-
recipes.
yeah.
So it was
Love
a
those.
combination of that and just the look of like everyday carry
It's
camera.
the poor man's Leica.
Like-
Yeah.
It's like it looks
I don't
cool
think- I
like a Leica, but is.
I don't think that
is
they don't
cheaper.
need that title anymore. It stands. Fuji stands on their own. Like people love. I
I think so
love my
too. I
Fuji.
think so too.
Yeah, preach a little, Joshua. Let's hear it. I know
Come on.
you're the Fuji
Get on your
guy.
soapbox.
Why?
I've
Also,
always
Fuji
felt-
cameras get more engagement on Twitter. Like,
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah,
I don't know
my
why.
my
I don't know
growth
why.
on Twitter has purely been because of my Fuji XE4. That's it. But no, being a Fujifilm shooter for photography, now they're really diving into. They've always kind of, teased they can do some video. It wasn't always great. Hasn't been great. The X-H2S is a lot better.
it's really
I'm
good.
not going. I'm definitely not going back to using mirrorless cameras for production. Hex no. That's no. But as a content creation,
Hex no?
as a content creation camera,
as we all
that is,
as we all use mirrorless cameras
Right?
for production. Joshua's
but no, but like
losers.
this is great for like everything that I need to do for video and all that stuff. But my dream is always wanted to see Fuji make its own cinema camera. They have the color
is so
science
sick.
down, and they will be
Yeah.
a huge competitor. I think if they will make something on the lines of like an FX3, maybe an FX6, I don't know. But
Right.
they've always have to pander to the photography side of their
The
brand.
core audience,
Yeah,
which is photography.
and that's why this camera, the XH2 is still a hybrid. I would love to have been like, no, just full out Sony FX3 type body, built-in fan. I don't need any adapters. Like, make it a full video camera for me to use, but it's not that because they don't want to lose that side of the audience. And this hybrid camera is a beast. It's 40 images per second. Like, I would never shoot that much, but like, it basically is
Right.
motion picture.
Right.
And still, so yeah.
You know
I
what
mean,
would destroy the entire market?
what's
What?
that?
An Apple prosumer camera.
Yeah, that'd be wild.
I've heard rumors.
An
a
Apple
few-
camera would be wild.
And it'll just be
Like,
AI.
but if they had
bugs.
Really, it would just be a box. It would just be
and it
like
would
this
still have the
little
green dot when you
box
point
with
at
like
the sun.
Yeah, it
3
would.
buttons on it.
I mean, honestly, Apple should make optics. Like, they should make lenses.
Oh yeah. I mean, no. To Eric's point, it would be like the sleekest design. It would look so futuristic.
They built.
And-
I believe they built an entire camera and I don't know if it was lenses too for
Did
the
they?
morning show. Yeah.
Did they?
I would prefer
Large
rather
format.
than Apple make just a camera. Like Apple makes phones that have cameras. I would rather Apple make a camera that just happens to be a phone. Like I don't need like the App Store and stuff. But if I had like
So
something
the
twice
OS,
the size of
the
this, I've
OS
said this
for it?
before.
Mhm.
Yeah, if it had like some sort of version of its OS where it was like twice the size of my phone, but was a badass camera, and then I could also answer calls on it and like text.
That's right.
I would I would buy that phone because like I don't need social media. Like, please, like get it away. Like I want.
Yeah,
like, a
you
nothing
do. You
phone
need
or-
it. No,
You
no,
need
no,
that.
No,
no,
dude.
no,
You
no.
need your
You
Facebook.
need
No
it.
one
You need your
actually
Facebook,
needs it.
bro. You
You
No
need
one
it.
actually needs.
Bro, you
No,
wouldn't.
Joshua needs it. Josh couldn't give it up for like 2 days, dude. What are you talking about? I give it up.
Ever
Yeah,
since
it's
you were,
true.
ever
That's
since
true.
you mentioned it, I just kept scrolling. Why am I scrolling on Facebook? It's because of you, Niles. That's why.
I do like Facebook now. It's like, oh, look at Teresa. Haven't seen her in 10 years. She's got a kid. That's cool.
I like all the names.
Go Teresa.
I like all the names you throw out. Like you went
I
to
know,
school
right?
back in like the '60s.
Joe.
Oh,
Teresa,
Evelyn.
Stacy,
Evelyn's
Stacy,
doing
Evelyn.
great. Like,
I do know an Evelyn.
Did you?
I do too. I have an aunt Evelyn.
Oh, nice. I didn't go to school with her though.
There was like there was like an internet scam going around where like scammers would go through phone books of local areas and look for old
Oh.
people names and then try to scam
Yes.
them because it's like they're old
I've gotten
Oh,
so
yeah.
many Amazon scams recently.
and they're dumb.
It's ridiculous, yo. They're like, "Oh, your account's about to be freezed." I'm like, "What account? I have 4. What are you talking about now?" Anyway, that's another
Right.
story.
Yeah, they've gotten pretty sophisticated.
Very.
All right, everybody. Well, drop your hottest camera take in the comments below. We can't wait to read them. Let us know what you think. Also, Eric, is there any way people can like support the film right now?
No,
Buy
Email
his
us,
lens.
sign up when it comes out, or
Buy his
anything.
lens.
I'm bad at this
Just
stuff.
go follow you.
Yeah,
Just go
just
follow
Oh.
you and interact.
Before you
keep up
answer,
with
Eric,
YouTube.
before you answer, are your LUTs creative LUTs or are they specifically for the C2, the C70?
They're fully creative LUTs. So
Okay.
Gamut is really trying to go after like being the go-to place for Rec 709 between all the camera brands, which I mean, Kalen is just like a total genius when it comes to color, and yeah, he throughout the process of building my LUTs, they built Rec 709s for all the Canon log profiles, and mine, yeah, it's been the most common question. A lot of people just will ask me like if it'll work for their brand, as long as you have your own Rec 709 to go from log
Conversion,
Yeah,
LUT, right?
yeah.
converted
absolutely.
like
I mean,
true
I use
color.
DaVinci, so you know.
Yeah, you could do that too. But as long as you have a way, whether it's through Gamut's Rec 709 or whatever way
Yeah.
you convert your log to true to
Yeah.
life color, it's just a creative LUT on top of that can be
Okay.
changed. Yeah.
Nice, yeah. Your
If
black
you
and
want to
white
learn
was
more
sick.
about and follow along with Eric's feature-length doc about Joe running a sub 240 marathon, right? That's his goal.
Yes.
And then also his story about that, just go follow Eric. And you probably already follow Joe. So just go follow Eric. And interact with everything so he can get sponsor dollars, I guess is really the only call to action here.
Yeah.
Make this guy
thanks,
money.
dude. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for
Yeah.
having
Good
me.
to see you, man.
Thank you. I feel like we kind
And,
of wait.
Yeah,
can I plug our
Nikon
merch?
sucks. Wait.
Oh yeah, Nikon sucks. What if you made merch that said Nikon sucks? Do you think it would?
That'd
sell?
be
Or-
you'd make a lot of money.
You would make it.
Volandis would buy it.
We should make it. I mean, we couldn't get in trouble, I don't think. I mean, we'd never get a sponsor deal, but like,
How did Nikon blow it so bad?
How did they
Right?
blow it?
They
so bad?
didn't
They were in
change.
It was
Costco.
Nikon,
I think they're
Canon
still in
only.
Costco.
Only. That's
Yeah.
only what it was. Yeah.
Dude,
It was
I think
Nikon, Canon, and Sony just blasted Nikon into oblivion, and now it's Canon, Sony with like Fujifilm, Blackmagic.
I mean,
Okay,
didn't Sony really,
okay.
like,
We need to get
revolutionize
Volandis
the market
on
with
here.
just
We need to get
mirrorless?
Volandis on here. Oh, sorry, Joshua.
Yeah.
No, you're fine.
We need to get Volandis on here and talk about the Nikon.
We do.
That'd be a funny episode.
That'd be really funny.
He
Episode.
would destroy it. Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right.
Stay on the sunny side. Thank you so much.
Keep
See ya.
on the
Bye.
sunny
Fireworks
side,
and, I'm gonna go buy some
always on the sunny
Thompson
side. Keep
Oh, did we
on
hang
the
up?
sunny side.
Camera.
Whoa. Thank you.